Sir, I'm telling you. I woke up and there he was, standing over me, eyes glowing like the devil.
That's enough, Private. The men have enough to think about without you spreading bloody ghost stories, especially about one of our own.
But sir, there's something wrong with him. Who knows what happened to him over there, in that pit? Whatever wiped out the Jerrys must have done something to him.
We have no idea what happened in that bunker. All I know is we have orders to hold this line, and we will follow those orders. I won't let you turn the men against each other.
I'm sorry, sir. I just feel like something really isn't right.
Don't worry, Dixon. I'm sure the corporal just needs some time to pull himself together. I'll have a word with Lawrence in the morning.
Doing? Stop right there!
What do you think?
There's no way she'd go in there. Let's keep checking this way. We'd better take a look in there.
person you called is not available. Please message after the tone.
Stacy, it's Nica. You need to clear out. The job went right down the shitter. Gav said there'd be no guard tonight, but the police were all over us right from the start. I gave him the slip in the woods, but I think Gav got nicked. I'm in some old abandoned hospital or that, but I think they might come and search the place, so I'm gonna look for a back door. Give me a ring when you get this. No chance.
The 18th of October, the year of our Lord 1916. It has been several months since I arrived at the front lines, but it already feels like an eternity here. Life in the trenches is nothing I could have imagined. I tried to keep the men's morale up, but it's hard when all I see around us is destruction and death. Today we had another attack from the Germans. It was brutal and bloody, and we lost many good men. I saw many of my comrades fall, and there was nothing I could do to help them. It's a feeling of helplessness that I simply can't shake off. First of November, 1916. The reprieve from the German guns was a relief, but this long quiet is beginning to unnerve me. It's been 2 days since we've seen or heard anything from the other side. Not even our best spotters have seen any activity across no man's land. One of the men, Ainsley, said he heard screams a few nights ago, but I just assured him it was the wind, and our less than cheerful situation playing his imagination. Most of the men are glad for some peace. Some think it means the Germans are in retreat. The war may be drawing to an end. Word from command doesn't comfort me, though. It sounds like our company is in the eye of the storm. One quiet area surrounded by enough bloodshed and carnage to make one think the world is ending. I haven't told any of my men, though. Best to let them have a moment of comfort. At least, what comfort they would feel if it weren't for him, Corporal Lawrence. Nobody can seem to like Lawrence. We've tried our best, but there is something just not right about that man. You'd think among all this chaos and death, an oddity of character wouldn't be much of a problem. So what if he stares longer than normal, or barely sleeps? It would be a miracle for any man to stay sane in all of this. I've seen many crack under the pressure. But Lawrence is just too calm, too quiet. Like he's at peace. Like he somehow enjoys all of this. Ainsley had to change barracks the other day. Said he heard Lawrence muttering something in his sleep that terrified him. Something about his daughter. But he wouldn't tell me any more. 2nd of November, 1916. Well, we're going over the top. Some of us, at least. It's been 3 days since anything was heard from Jerry. Command is sending 15 of us over to scout out their line and see if they have indeed retreated. I decided to ask for volunteers before selecting anyone myself, but this was a mistake. Only one man stepped forward. Corporal Lawrence. He seemed to have some kind of desire or hunger to venture out to no man's land, across literal hell on earth. I didn't want to take him, but what reason could I give? I had to reprimand Ainsley for suggesting that Lawrence could make the ultimate sacrifice for king and country. I don't care how unusual Lawrence may be. I will not allow such misconduct between the men. The 4th of November, 1916. Mary, Mother of God, only with blessings did we make it back from the other side, from that hell. We began our journey across no man's land as quickly and quietly as we could. Never have I ever seen such utter devastation, such misery inflicted on the world. What was probably a pleasant countryside is now blasted into a lifeless wasteland, a sea of wire and rot. We approached the German trench expecting a sudden ambush, but as we rolled over the sandbags we were met with a dreadful silence. The enemy line was completely empty. We of course checked for traps as we explored the trench, but nothing could be found, no signs of life, not even the vermin could be found. Ainsley quickly pointed out a queer black mold that seemed to be embedded in every crack and corner, giving off a horrid, sickly sweet scent, like rotten fruit. Private Dixon found the first body and managed to cry out before vomiting. A man, or what was left of him, was smeared over the dirt floor. The bones looked old and pitted, and the skull had been crushed open with a tongue stuffed inside. We found more remains in the watchpost and latrine, each more gruesome than the last. Then we discovered a small hole in one of the bunkers. Corporal Lawrence was the first to investigate. According to Dixon, he was peering in, as if hypnotized, before sliding in head first. The men rushed to his aid, only to be met with silence. Shortly after, he suddenly emerged from the hole, covered in a tarry black ooze, and was insensible. After dragging Lawrence from the bunker, we escaped back to our trench, and the commanders tried to calm us. Lawrence still hasn't told us what happened in that hole. November 6th, 1916. I can't help but notice the change in Corporal Lawrence recently. He used to be so quiet and unsettling, but now he's more talkative than ever, but it seems like the other men wish for his old silence. Some reported the things he says disturb them greatly. They say he talks about the joys of close spaces, the creation and destruction that seems to have surrounded us, and human pleasures missed. Private Dixon told me that he woke up in the middle of the night to find the corporal standing over him. His eyes were as bright and flat as silver coins. The next day, they found Private Dixon snarled in the barbed wire, his intestines strewn about in all directions. 15th of November, 1916. I fear we will never make it back home. After Dixon's death, a strange sickness spread throughout the trench, devouring men's flesh like acid. Previously healthy men woke to find their flesh eaten down to the bone, leaving it blackened and oozing. I witnessed a sergeant being consumed by a living carpet of rats that refused to leave his body, even after being shot. They attacked many other men before the body was recovered. We were eventually relieved, but many of us were already wasting away before we even made it to a hospital. Corporal Lawrence was placed in a psychiatric ward after exhibiting signs of extreme mental imbalance, including attempting to assault a nurse, causing her to lose 3 fingers from her right hand and the vision in her right eye. His behavior grew more unsettling, and he would whisper about endless halls, pursuits in the dark, and flesh laid out like pages of a book. He disappeared from the ward several times, only to reappear several hours later as if nothing had happened. When pressed, he would sing "My Bonnie Lies Over the Sea" in an endless monotone until the doctors left in frustration. The air around Lawrence seemed to be tainted with a stale and musty foulness, and incidents of infection and strange sickness, like those that had afflicted our trench, followed him like a cloud. The doctors tried to transfer him multiple times, but bureaucratic confusion hindered their efforts. There were no records of his existence, not even a birth certificate. Throughout it all, Lawrence sat cross-legged on his bed, occasionally humming tunelessly or giggling while reciting the names of his fellow patients. I can't help but wonder if I'll end up like him, lost in this war and forgotten by the world. 26th of November, 1916. Last night, Lawrence and the 18 other men vanished from the ward. It happened during a 5-minute nurse rotation at 3 in the morning. The room was filled with a sickening stench of rust, oil, mold, and something else. A sweet rot that clung to the air. Thick black swaths of crumbling ooze coated the beds and walls, and patches of it were eating into the floor. At first, we couldn't find any trace of the missing men until one of the nurses moved a bed frame and stumbled upon a sunken depression in the floor and let out a piercing scream. There, arranged in a tight spiral, were dozens of teeth. After counting them, the staff realized they were the total number of teeth from everyone in the ward, except for one. Corporal Lawrence was never found, nor were any of my missing men. The incident was quickly forgotten amidst the constant barrage of horrors from the front. However, rumors of a cursed trench quickly spread across the lines, a rumor I knew to be true. We heard stories of strange deaths and disappearing men, found days later decayed and twisted beyond recognition, and some spoke of a dark figure stalking the bomb-riddled towns and fields of Europe.
I did.